Now, is this the opponent that we were just up against with an Una deck, I wonder? Yeah, some people like to change decks when they know which deck you're running, because they fancy their odds against it. Kykar wins Fury, up against Sen Triplets, and I've definitely played this player. I can't remember if they were playing Ugin last turn though, or last game. Anyway, we have lands in the hand, so we can slowly make our way up to Jeskai mana. We'll just get down a tapped Hollowed Fountain and throw it over to our opponent. Yeah, the Una game I doubt you've seen because it was incredibly boring. We won that one, but it's only because our opponent didn't really do anything. Kykar wins Fury, 4 mana in Jeskai for a 3/3 with flying. Whenever we cast a non-creature spell, we get a 1/1 spirit token with flying, and we can sack spirits for red. Yeah, I mean, we just hold up Dovhin's Veto and counterspell, don't we? Torpor Orb. Do we care at all about Torpor Orb? We hardly have any creatures in play. It turns off Ogre Battle Driver and Perforos. And what's the other one? Trembling something. What's the mini Perforos for 2 mana? Yeah, I think there's scarier things that we can worry about. We've got artifact removal in the deck anyway. Okay, Supreme Verdict is worth keeping hold of. Let's go for another tapped Shockland at the end of the turn, I think. We'll continue to hold up Counter Magic. And passing the turn, so they may well be holding up Counter Magic for Kykar next turn. But if there's one thing that we're not going to do in this deck, it's run out Kykar into Counter Magic. Preferably want to hold up Counter Magic of our own once we've got Kykar down. Let's get down the Steam Vents tapped. Now we could bait a counter spell out next turn with Teferi. That does mean that we're not holding up Counter Magic of our own though. Yeah, let's just go in for the Izzet Signet. And with that, actually, once we get a land next turn, we could go for Kykar and hold up Counter Magic, couldn't we? So yeah, that's the play that we make, I think. Jace the Mind Sculptor. No, I don't think so. Do not want to deal with Jace. Or Brainstorm isn't terrible. We can get down a white with the Prismatic Vista. So yeah, let's just go for Kykar here. We'll go for the white now from Prismatic Vista, because we want to hold up double blue for Counterspell. And now, whenever we cast one of the spells in our hand, we can get a spirit token out of the deal. There are the Sen Triplets. Yeah, I think we have to counter that. We don't want our opponent playing spells out of our hand. That's what Sen Triplets does, by the way. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose a target opponent. This turn, that player can't cast spells or activate abilities. They play with their hand revealed, and you can play those cards. A 3/3 for 5 in Esper. Let's get down another land, and now it's Teferi, I think. We'll draw a card. Oh, Mystical Tutor isn't terrible. We can both Mystical Tutor and Brainstorm. And the good thing about Teferi is that we untap lands with it, so we can maybe get into Counter Magic off of Brainstorm. Or what we could do if we're desperate is go for Mystical Tutor, put a counter spell on top, and then draw into it with Brainstorm and cast it, all the while getting more spirit tokens. All creatures get -1/-1. I don't like the sound of that one bit, so let's go for Mystical Tutor. And we'll have to go for Arcane Denial on that, because it's the only one that we can play. I think I'm missing a mana leak in this deck. Obviously draw into the Arcane Denial. Let's put Glacial Fortress and Narset on top. I'd like to draw into Narset next turn. And then we'll Arcane Denial that. Our opponent will draw a couple of cards next turn, but we'll draw one as well at least. We cannot have our spirits getting -1/-1 for the rest of the game. Now we'll give our opponent the card draw, see if they get into some counter magic of their own. We'll play a land and go for this Narset. That is a non-creature spell, so we'll get more spirits. Okay, it's good to have Narset down because that will keep our opponent from drawing multiple spells. Let's look at the top cards of the library with Narset. Mystic Confluence is a snap keep there, I think. Then let's draw with Teferi. Oh, Elspeth is really good to get into as well. We don't actually have that many Planeswalkers in the deck, but apparently we're just going to draw into all of them. Let's swing in with everything. And then Teferi will untap a couple of lands, and we can just hold up Mystic Confluence. You can have a Talisman of Dominance. There seems to be a running theme here. Well, we can't allow that either, I'm afraid. We'll draw a couple of cards and counter our opponent's Curse of Death's Hold. And obviously getting another spirit when we do that. Mana Drain, yeah. This is your typical control build. And controlling the game is what we're doing. Let's get a Tundra. We'll minus down Narset again. And then we can't minus her down anymore. Well, like I said before, there's a running theme here. There's a running theme for our opponent, but there's one for us as well. In that we are getting into all of our Planeswalkers. Saheeli, Sublime Artificer. And that will also trigger on non-creature spells. Yeah, let's go for Elspeth as well. I actually think that this is all of our Planeswalkers. We'll get a Servo token from Saheeli for casting a non-creature spell. And then yet another spirit. Then we'll go for a bunch of soldier tokens. We don't care about Saheeli's other ability. Let's draw with Teferi. Monastery Mentor is even more token producers. And then at the end of the turn, we're definitely going to hold up a couple of blue mana with Teferi. How good is Teferi? Hero of Dominaria. Last chance for our opponent, because if they can't do something here, then we are going to go in for lethal next turn. Well, that's counterable as well. Unfortunately for our opponent, we've gotten into all of our counter magic. We'll get another couple of tokens. And yeah, good game to our opponent. That was pretty miserable for them to play through, I'm sure. But they did the right thing and carried on playing, because you never know, they might be able to actually land a Wrath of God. And after that, maybe they get their commander down again, start messing up our plans. Anyway, hope you enjoyed Kykar Wins Fury and Tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching. Kykar Wins Fury versus Una, Queen of the Fate. Now, we don't have a whole lot of anything going on there. I suppose we could burn Remand just for the card draw. Yeah, we're going to have to hit lucky because our colours are not good there. I think we just mulligan that. Okay, well somehow that's even worse. We'll keep it because I don't want to go down any further. And we'll choose to get rid of Fact or Fiction. Get going with the Cascade Bluffs and keep our fingers crossed for another land. Well, it's one of the... I think we've got Reliquary Tower and Wasteland. I don't think we even have Ancient Tomb in here, so not many colourless lands, but hey, at least we can get the Signet out with it. And then in a really janky way, we'll be able to get into red mana for the Pyromancer. Oh, and there's another land, that's good. So let's go like that. And we'll go in for the Pyromancer. That gets down pretty quickly, so I'm assuming our opponent doesn't have counter magic. Okay, and Ashiok, that will begin to mill us, although the cards get exiled as opposed to being put into the graveyard. A couple of lands and disallow, they're good cards to get rid of. Let's just get ourselves into a shock land. Go for the steam vents there. We don't have much white in the deck. Alright, Chromatic Lantern's really good. Do we just want to get down our commander at this point though? It's risky, but it's a risk I'm going to take, I think. And we will swing in at Ashiok. They're not likely to get any creatures off us in this deck because I think we only have about, about 4 creatures, something like that. Deck lists are always in the description if anyone's interested. This time getting rid of a Crypt, Preordain and Dovin's Veto. They may not be getting into a land this turn though. Nope, they are. They've got the Cabal Coffers, luckily. They don't have Urborg in play. Or a lot of swamps. Well, we're being really lucky with these lands. That is a white source as well. Let's get a white source straight out with that. And then let's attempt a Frantic Search. We'll get a couple of tokens from Young Pyromancer and Kykar. Frantic Search will draw us 2, but we have to discard 2. Yeah, we can go for Chromatic Lantern, can't we? So let's get rid of the Talisman and the Vandal Blast. We'll untap those. And then we'll get down the Lantern and we can hold up Generous Gift. Kykar triggers on non-creature spells, not just instants and sorceries like the Young Pyromancer does. We get a Spirit token with flying when we cast a non-creature spell. And we can sack the Spirit for red. That's a 3/3 flyer for 4 mana in Jeskai. Now we might as well swing everything in at Ashiok to keep it from exiling the top cards of our library. And we could really do with getting into some of these cantrips. One of them has been exiled in Preordain. We don't have any counter magic backup, unfortunately. We can Generous Gift our opponent's permanents if we want to. Looks like they're not having the best of luck this game. But neither are we. We're having better luck than our opponent, but we're not getting into non-creature spells that we actually want to cast. Let's just swing in with everything. And we can continue to hold up the Generous Gift. Okay, Warped Landscape. Search your library for a basic. Put it onto the battlefield tapped. I'm guessing they're going for a swamp there. And if Cabal Coffers becomes a problem, we do have the Wasteland to get rid of that. Although I'm not in a rush to get rid of our opponent's Cabal Coffers or any of their mana really, because they do seem to be struggling. A Thassa, God of the Sea. Yeah, Thassa's a really good one. Right, well that's just more mana. At least whatever we draw into, we're going to be able to cast it. And at least that's a non-creature spell that we can get another Spirit down with. Knocking our opponent down to 14. And here comes the Scry. Now, in the original version of the deck, I went for Flying Matters Anthems and decided to pull those out for Young Pyromancer and Mentor of the Meek, Elspeth, Sun's Champion, cards like that. I'm actually wondering if I should have gone for the Flying Anthem style. Because even though we've got a lot of creatures in play, we're giving our opponent a lot of time to react here. Now that is a flying blocker that I don't much like the look of. Yeah, when it deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of the library, you can cast those spells. I mean, we can still swing Kykar into that. I think we'll just go for the Generous Gift. It'll get us another couple of tokens. And we can carry on swinging in with our flyers and try and draw this game to a finish. They'll be left with a 3/3 elephant token, which does not have flying, as you might expect. Yep, you'll never guess, it's another land. We've got 38 lands in the deck. Let's just hold these back as blockers. We'll swing in with the flyers. That is 7 damage. So, if they don't get a flyer into play, we win next turn. Yeah, and our opponent doesn't have anything. They didn't get into a board wipe, clearly. Yeah, not a particularly enthralling game. So I doubt I'm going to be showing you this one, but just in case I am, I'll be sure to carry on playtesting with this deck and see if cards like Young Pyromancer are going to stay in there, or if we're going to go for Anthem effects for flying creatures so that we can draw games like that to a close more quickly. Yeah, not quite sure.